Jo Hartley, how good to see you. Thank you so much for your time.
It's so great to see you. Thanks for having me. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. I'm a big fan of your work, so I'm really grateful. I really appreciate you chatting to me. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thanks. Oh, it's such a pleasure.
Swede Caroline in cinemas at the end of April. Tell us about this. Can you give us a brief summing up of the movie and your role in the film?
I sure can, yeah. Swede Caroline. Well, I exec produce it, which is nice, and I played the lead in the film, Caroline. She is a competitive big veg grower. She's also kind of chancer, and she's got these two friends, Willie and Paul, played by Kellen Jones and Richard Lumsden. And Caroline grows a huge marrow. It's set in the world of competitive veg. Now, Caroline goes over to like a fair, it's like a competition, and she enters her marrow into the competition and it gets disqualified and she's devastated. And her two lovely friends are trying to console her that evening. She takes it home and she's a bit disappointed, and when they're in bed that evening, it gets stolen. Now, Caroline does a side job working for a couple of investigators, private investigators, played by Ray Fearon and Aisling Bea. And she asks them to help her find the marrow. She senses there's something funny going on, and they set off on this journey to try and help her discover where the marrow's gone, and they get kidnapped. So it ends up with Caroline, myself, Paul, Richard Lumsden, who's incredible. He's kind of a conspiracy theorist. And Kellen Jones, Willie, who plays Willie, he's in love with me. He's my crazy little neighbour. We all set off on this journey to try and find the marrow, and we go on this adventure. And basically, it's kind of a crime drama, anti-hero sort of caper, and it's a mockumentary, so it's a bit like your David Brent or your Spinal Tap or that kind of Best in Show vibe where, you know, it's all real people, real settings. Yeah, I mean, she discovers this corruption within the town. It's a bit like a Erin Brockovich on acid, you know?
That's a really good description of it. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this could be the first British mockumentary that is about vegetable growing and missing marrows.
Yes, it is, and we've got an incredible ensemble cast. Brooke Driver, who wrote it, I love him. He's so quirky, but he's super, super talented. As soon as I read the script that my agent sent me, they really didn't want to cast anyone else. They'd kind of written it for me, and I was so blown away. Newcomer, really, and as are the Jack and Boris and Anthony, the other producers. Finn's done a couple of other films who produced it, but I was just blown away by it, and I wanted the opportunity to work with this ensemble cast. And I said to Emily and Finn, would it be all right if I help, you know, cast some of these roles with you? I've got some friends who I'd love to ask. And so, you know, I helped sort of produce that, well, exec produce it, and just got a load of really great people in. And Emily did an incredible job at getting this ensemble together. You've got like so many great British comedians. I've got a list of them here, you know, Mark Silcox, Steve Brodie, I worked with him on This Is England. So yeah, there's just lots of people. Faye Ripley, Ray Fearon, you know, Aisling Bea. Alice Lowe came and did a day for us.
That whole kind of comedy, horror, drama element does overlap, doesn't it? You've got a lot of these alternative comedians and stand-up people and very funny people. Is it difficult to play a serious role? And when I say serious role, because obviously you've got to play that serious role for it to be funny. Is that difficult when the script is funny?
Well, it is, because I called the king of mockumentary, Ricky Gervais, who can call a friend of mine. He won't mind. He's lovely. And I said, Ricky, what do I do? And he said, just don't try and be funny. Just be yourself. You'll be great. And I was like, wow, that's so kind. And it's a good bit of advice, because actually just play the truth. And this is why I asked, I mean, Emily got this amazing cast together, but I asked, could I help cast the two boys that was going to be, they already had Richard, they love Richard. And then I reached out to Kellen, who's a master. He's like a filmmaker, producer, BAFTA winner, you know, he's incredible. And I sent him the script. I don't even think he read it. He just said to them, if Joe's in it, I'm going to be in it. And he came on the Zoom and was just like, I love Joe, let's do the film. And he read through it and said, this is great. And I think for me, it was more about having real actors, like not just comedy actors, but I mean, all the actors in this film can do both, but we wanted this serious element to her. And Shane Meadows watched it for us, and he's given us a quote for the poster, and he said to me, it's one of the most incredible things I've seen in a while, because it's so messy and real, and you're sort of the heart running through it, and you the glue that kind of binds it together with the reality of it. But I kind of was a bit tempted to do a few silly moments, and you can see that. But Finn and Brooke, when we did the edit, I think it was it was Ash who edited it. They took all of me trying to, I was trying to be like these moments where I just couldn't resist, and they would take them out because they said it's better when you're actually just a little bit kind of straight and honest and nuts.
Yeah, because people relate to that, don't they, as well? Because it's a very British kind of mockumentary feel as well, and I'm sure there are lots of elements in that people will they'll totally get, because they've been in a similar situation. So that's what makes it funny, isn't it?
It does. You want to see, she's kind of an anti-hero, and it's really great to be a female lead, and just, you know, at this time in my life and doing this movie. And I kind of love doing stuff that's very different, and I love indie film, and I love supporting indie film, and I think we need more of it. And this is the sort of film where you're getting changed in toilets and you're running around in people's houses, and, you know, it's all together like a family. And for me, it was a real opportunity to be part of a whole and lead and be a leader and be someone who's kind of able to find that truth in this bizarre situation, but to her it's so real, you know. It's like and I met a lot of the big veg growers. They were so helpful, and it's such an incredibly competitive arena, you know, and I just loved the idea. So it's been a pleasure, and I think the soundtrack's great, and we've got Sleaford Mods and all these great songs on there, and it was quite kick-ass for me. She's a bit of a tomboy, and she's kind of a little bit of a rogue, but she's lovable, you know. So
I love it, and I think this is the debut feature, isn't it, from Finn Bruce and Brooke Driver? So being the first feature, does that change the way you approach the role? Does it make it more challenging for you, because you kind of want to respect them more, and maybe you want it to work for them more because it's their first feature?
Absolutely. And like I say, I always try to, I did Sweetheart with Marley Morrison, and I like to work with new talent because they're so enthusiastic and incredibly like hungry, like I was when I worked on Dead Man's Shoes and This Is England, and still am actually. And that's why I crave this. At least once a year, you've got to do something that's really, you know, I knew it was good quality. The writing was absolutely incredible. Brooke's super smart. His comic timing, and the one-liners were just brilliant, and the characters that he'd created. Finn had done a couple of films, and I'd watched them, and I loved the essence of his films. They were really great, you know, like the sort of indie stuff that he'd done. And so Boris and Jack were just super quirky, but really smart, intelligent people like Anthony. And so I did trust them. The only thing I asked was if I could exec it and have a say over the edit with you, and also the casting of the two friends that are going to be with me all the way throughout. And they totally was like, they asked Emily, everyone was on board. And you know what? I watched the first edit. I had a little page of notes, and they were instinctively on the same page as me. I knew that from the beginning. I could tell intuitively. And you have to take a gamble. As an actor, you can't play safe. This is crazy, this little film. We went to Rain Dance, and it got a standing ovation and won. Like, people loved it because it's so nuts and lovable and wonderful. It's just a mess, you know. It's not totally polished like you have now with lots of execs, like, you know, polishing it, changing the script, making it perfect for TV. It's just an old school, that's what Shane said. It reminded him of like Romeo Brass, Where's the Money, Ronnie, that kind of messy, kind of new. But then it's got the element of comedy and oddness with the big veg growing. So yeah, it was just straight away, I was like, Swede Caroline. And it's nothing to do with a Swede. So you'll have to watch it to find out what that means.
Do you know what? I was going to ask you about that, because I thought the same. I think it's definitely a film with its heart in the right place, amongst other things.
Well, Brooke loved like The Big Lebowski, where no one really knows what's going on. You know, it's just this ensemble of crazy characters. You know, I'm not comparing it to that, but it's like those were our inspirations, you know. Best in Show, Big Lebowski, Spinal Tap, all that kind of stuff. David Brent. So yeah, incredible experience. I hope people go and watch it and support it. We need to support indie cinema, and these guys are going places, you know. So
absolutely,
I knew that I could take this chance and something good would come from it. So I've got a good feeling about Swede Caroline.
Excellent. And you mentioned Shane Meadows as well. Great to see Dead Man's Shoes back as well, remastered just recently. And obviously people getting the chance to see it on the big screen if they missed it first time round. I mean, it's still as powerful as it was back then. And also, you know, This Is England. I mean, it goes without saying. Would you jump at the chance to work with Shane Meadows again? Great to see he's got that quote on the poster, like you say, as well.
Absolutely. Shane did say he would love to work with me again, and I know that he takes time to do his projects and he gets a project in mind and he'll cast the right people because he's very intuitive himself. And I went to a talk that he did at BAFTA recently. He said it's getting harder and harder to make films like that because people want specifics or they want guarantees, and he works in a very sort of unconventional way and with non-stars really. And I craved to do something with him. And when I sent him this film, it was a Saturday night, and I said, Shane, would you watch it and let me know what you think? You know, we'd love you to give us some feedback. The next morning he said, this is incredible. The quotes that he gave us were just, you know, he just said it's got its foot in so many different genres, it's bonkers and it's absolutely beautiful. He said it's incredible, and, you know, a watch over comedy again and again, healing comedy, eat your heart out. You know, all these great quotes that he gave us, some really funny stuff. So I'd love to work with him, and I think I will, you know. I think I will work with Shane again.
Crossed.
So
fantastic.
Manifesting that.
Yeah, and we saw you recently in Passenger, which was such a huge hit for ITV. So many people are talking about it still now, even though it's been on a couple of weeks maybe. A huge hit, like I say. Again, that's kind of balancing comedy and drama in quite a clever way.
Very much so. And also, again, like The Big Lebowski, no one seems to know what's going on.
Which is good, keeps people guessing.
Yeah, I love Linda, my character. A lot of people have, like, big Afterlife fans have been messaging me going, you're not very nice in this. What's because I'm always like sweet and kind. And I was like, I've done my job well. I mean, she was such a great character. There wasn't loads on paper, but Andrew Buchan, who wrote it, said to me, what you've done with it is so interesting because I don't know if you're good or bad. And it's quite, you know, it was sort of like, well, if she's a detective that runs a police station and she's in charge and all she's bothered about is wheelie bins and, you know, I think there's something going on there. But that experience with Wunmi and all that cast that I've just worked with again was just that was an incredible ensemble. And just to play that strong, obnoxious, sassy, awkward, rude, northern kind of character in this, some of the one-liners are just so funny, you know, it's like, you know, I found a condom on a bench last week. It's not good enough. And then she's trying to win the best kept village. And then she's like, this is not Broadchurch. And a couple of the ITV viewers was like, no, it's not. I was like, it's so good. Because it's really getting people talking, you know. And I've had some incredible feedback from it. So hopefully we'll go again. But I love Linda Markle. She's a great character. And Andrew's got some plans for her, I think, for season 2.
Oh, brilliant. What a challenge. And great to see Mandy back as well. Because you were in the Christmas episode of Mandy. And that is back. Fantastic series, new one.
So my friend Daniel actually said to me, watch Mandy. I've not had time because I've been filming Bank of Dave, the sequel with Rory Kinnear, and that's been incredible.
Yeah.
But oh my God, I played Diane's mum in Mandy, the Christmas special, and I was just in my element. I love Diane Morgan, honestly, I love her. I'd love to do something with her. Yeah, the two of us, just this kind of odd, sort of quirky, maybe we should do a Northern Thelma and Louise, but I think I've got to do something like that with Alice Lowe, though. I've been saying that for a while. She's like, write it.
I'm here for it. I'm definitely here for it. Jo, it's so fantastic to see you. Thank you so much for chatting. All the best with Swede Caroline. It's fantastic. Everyone get those bums on the seats in cinemas. Watch it if you can on streaming as well when it's streaming. But yeah, go to the cinema and support.
Please
like
come yourself
cinema.
on the... Yeah, come on the 16th of April to the Genesis Cinema. If there's any tickets left, let us know if you can't get one. We'll try and get you one. But please come and join us. And thanks for such an incredible interview. What great questions. You're so lovely.
Oh, you're very welcome, Jo. All the best. And I'll catch up with you. Hopefully see you on the 16th.
Absolutely. Come along. See you soon. Bye-bye.